plan on resigning, First Minister?
No, I fully intend to not just win that vote, but I intend to fight to make sure that the government stays up, not just the government continues to deliver on the priorities of the people, like, for example, investing in affordable housing. So there's all that political game playing happening from the opposition. That will not be taking part. It will be getting, of course, on with the job. And when the vote comes, I fully intend to win.
Are you confident of winning? Because what gives you that confidence?
Well, look, I've been part of a minority government 2016 to 2021. I completely understand that minority government relies on compromise, relies on working on an issue to issue basis in order to try to get support for your priorities. So what I'll be doing is writing to every single political party leader, asking them to meet in the coming days to say, how do we actually make minority government work? That's incumbent, of course, on the government, but also on the opposition to act in good faith.
And at those meetings, you're going to have to give some concessions. What are you willing to give away in order to sustain your job?
Look, you are actually right. Of course, in minority government, you have to compromise. There's a bit of give and take. There's often some trade-offs. That is the nature of minority government. So I'll be meeting and hope to meet with the party leaders if they respond to the letter, and of course see what their priorities are and where our priorities are and where do they align.
And if you lose next week's vote, will you resign?
I don't hypothecate on loss. I intend on not just
hypothetical,
fighting.
First Minister. This is going to be a very, very close run thing, and there's a really, really good chance that you lose.
There's a hypothetical. I just told you I don't hypothecate on loss. I hypothecate on winning, and that's what I intend to do in the vote.
But I think the people of Scotland deserve to know whether their First Minister will respect the will of Parliament.
The people of Scotland can be very assured that I'm confident of winning that vote and getting on with the job of delivering.
The will of their Parliament?
Look, again, I understand the headline that you're very desperate
it's
to
not
get.
A headline, First Minister.
I'm pretty clear here that when it comes to that vote, I fully intend on not just fighting the vote, but winning that vote too.
And as I say, it's a fairly close run thing. Even a close win, surely that's the beginning of the end.
Oh, that's quite an incredible statement. If you win a vote, then somehow that is the end. I don't agree with that statement at all.
Well, yesterday morning you said you wanted to take back control and stamp your authority. A few hours later you were humiliated when the Greens said that they wouldn't back you in that confidence motion. You're a lame duck leader, are you not?
Oh, look, let's forget the tired cliches and let's actually concentrate on the reality. The reality is this: I'm out here delivering on the priorities of the people. Now, the opposition may wish to play games.
Well,
that
the reality is you're a
them.
leader teetering on the edge.
No, look, I intend to fight that vote of no confidence. I've got every intention of winning that vote of no confidence. But let me say to the opposition, for minority government to work in the interest of the people of Scotland, it also requires the opposition to act in good faith. And to the Greens, I've obviously heard their anger, their upset.
Well, you sacked them yesterday and you said that the deal was done.
Well, I understand, that's exactly what I'm saying. I understand their upset and their anger. Now, what I will be doing is writing to all of the political party leaders, all the party groups represented in the Scottish Parliament, including, of course, Patrick Harvie and Lorna Slater, asking them to meet with me to say, look, how do we make minority government work? It's in the best interest of the people of Scotland that all of us act in good faith and make it work.
Is there, just finally, how are you so confident you can win this when actually this is not in your hands?
No, look, I believe in our ability to be able to work with, negotiate, compromise where necessary. We've shown that in the past. We'll show it again. I was part of a minority government in 2016 to 2021. I was a minister in that government. We had to negotiate constantly, compromise where we had to. I'll be looking to do that over the next coming days with the opposition leaders, and with that I'm quite confident, very confident in fact, that we'll be able to win that vote for confidence.
You've not considered your position then?
No.
But you're talking about homes. It seems that the entirety of Scotland is talking about your position. How can you say you've not even considered it overnight?
I don't think that's actually the case. I think most people are worried about the cost of living crisis. They're worried about health. They're worried about housing. They're worried about supporting businesses. That's what they're worried about, they're concerned about, not about political games from the opposition. So I'll let them play the games that they're going to play. But it's also why I've written to, we'll be writing to all the party leaders that are represented in the Scottish Parliament to say to them, let's meet, let's discuss how minority government, we get minority government to work. Because it of course depends on the actions of government, but also depends on the opposition acting in good faith, which is not what they're doing.
But what's happening next week is very much not a game. It's a parliamentary motion against you, a vote of no confidence in you. How do you survive that? Do you go to Alex Salmond's Alba party, try and get Ash Regan to vote for you, or do you turn back to the Greens and plead for them to return?
Well, as I said, I'll be writing to each of the party leaders and the party groups represented within the Scottish Parliament to have that discussion with them about their priorities and what are our priorities. And I would say to the Greens, look, I understand and I've heard their upset, I've heard their anger, and I understand it. And that was certainly not my intention. But what I would say to them is, I think it's really important that they do reconsider their position in relation to the vote of no confidence, because the SNP and the Greens, although not in a formal arrangement and cooperation agreement, still share a number of values. We still share important priorities, such as the race to net zero, such as supporting independence, such as our commitment to equality. So I would really urge Green colleagues to not support the Conservative motion and to reconsider their position.
Do you regret how you handled your meeting with them yesterday, hauling them into your office? You sacked them and then sent them across the road in front of the TV cameras. Do you regret how you handled that?
Look, I don't think that's exactly the characterisation. I asked to have a discussion with them. I gave them my rationale and explained to them why I thought it was in best interest to end the Bute House Agreement. They didn't agree with that clearly. I have listened to them. I have heard their anger. I have heard their upset. It certainly was not my intention to make them feel that way. So I would hope that they are willing, once I write to them, to meet, to have a discussion. Let's see how we make minority government work in the best interest of the people of Scotland.
Alan? Just finally, I know you can move on to that report. Can I just ask, will you resign if that vote of no confidence comes in, you lose it? Will you resign?
I don't hypothecate loss. I intend to go into that vote of no confidence and win that vote of no confidence.
First Minister, you say you are not resigning, you intend to fight this vote of no confidence, but how do you survive the next few days?
Well, I think it's really actually incumbent on me to demonstrate that I'm focused on the priorities of the people. It's why I'm out here, of course, announcing £80 million for affordable housing. And I think that is where the priorities of the people are. In terms of the vote of no confidence, I'll go into that vote of no confidence with the intention of winning that vote. I believe I can win it. I believe the government can. And what I would say to the opposition, for minority government, it's really important that the government acts in good faith, but the opposition do as well, and they're clearly not acting in good faith.
You're writing to other party leaders to speak with them, but what can you possibly offer the Greens now to get them back on side, given how angry they are with you?
You're right, I've heard the anger and the upset from the Greens, and let me say that was not my intention to make them feel that way. I have heard their expressions of anger and frustration towards me, and of course towards my party. It's why I will be writing to Lorna, to Patrick, to the other leaders of the political groups in the Scottish Parliament to say, let's meet, let's have a discussion, particularly with the Greens. I would say, although we're not in a formal arrangement anymore, there's still many shared priorities, from equality to independence to, of course, a race to net zero. So I would hope that the Greens would reconsider their position of supporting that Conservative motion.
Sounds like that's the kind of biggest hope you're clinging on to, is the Greens may U-turn in their position in this, but what specifically can you offer them to come back around?
Well, look, I'll look forward to getting a response to that letter from Lorna, from Patrick, and then I'll have a discussion with them as opposed to having a discussion here on the camera in terms of what their priorities are and what our priorities are.
Ash Regan as well has written to you this morning. Have you read her letter, and what do you say to Ash Regan as someone who you've described in the past as no great loss to the SNP?
Well, look, of course I've seen Ash's letter, and when I say I'll be writing to all the party leaders and representatives of the party groups in the Scottish Parliament, that includes Ash Regan, so I will of course respond to Ash's letter.
We've had another motion lodged this morning as well, Scottish Labour lodging a motion of no confidence in the government. How do you respond to what they are saying today?
I think it's an absolute demonstration of how the opposition parties are desperate to play political games. So there they are, submitting motions, trying to make sure that they get other political parties to back their position on these votes of no confidence, 1-2 votes of no confidence, while I'm out here, of course, making an announcement of an additional £80 million for affordable housing. So that's my priorities. Their priorities are just to play silly political games.
And if Parliament says it has no confidence in you next week, will you respect that vote and resign?
Look, first and foremost, I don't hypothecate a loss. I intend to go into that vote to win that vote. That's what I believe will happen.
But will you respect it if it goes against you?
Again, I don't intend to hypothecate a loss. I expect to win that vote, and that's my intention.
This is a mess. How are you feeling?
Well, for me, I'm feeling absolutely confident about winning that vote of no confidence. But also, for all
How do you win that?
well, win that
The
vote,
numbers don't add up.
But the reason, if you're going to ask me 2 or 3 questions at a go, I'm not going to answer them. So look, for me, the way to win that vote is by meeting with party leaders. That's why I've written to every single, I will be writing to every single party leader, Patrick Harvey, Lorna Stitter, I'll be writing to Anna Sawa, Douglas Ross and Ansel Hamilton to say, let's meet. And how do we make minority government work?
Every single major party has said that they're going to vote against you. You won't win this unless you carry on something propped up by Alex Salmond's Alba Party. That's not sustainable.
No, look, I would urge the Greens in particular to reconsider the position. I understand their anger.
They told me today that they are not reconsidering. The price the price is that you need to resign. That's their demand.
Well, look, again, I will be happy to write to them, to meet with them, to see if they can reconsider this. I would urge them to do that, because what the Conservatives and the Unionist opposition are clearly looking to do is play political games. Now,
First Minister, it's over. It's over, isn't it?
no, not at all.
You're coming across like the knight from Monty Python here, saying it's a flesh wound.
That's maybe a really good line that you practice in the mirror, but actually I intend to fight and to win that vote of no confidence. I believe I can do that. What I would say to the opposition is for minority government to work, we have to make sure that we're all acting in good faith. So I'm getting on with it. As you say,
You
£80
won't get to
million.
govern as a minority government. The vote, the confidence vote is next week. You don't have the numbers unless you carry on limping on, propped up by Alex Salmond's Alba party. And people in your party won't parrot that, will they?
You might believe it's all over. I don't think that at all. I absolutely believe we can win the vote of no confidence.
I put it to you yesterday when you cancelled the Bute House Agreement. You thought it was a smart move. You said it was a new beginning. It was the beginning of the end.
I don't believe that at all. As I say, I was part of a minority government in 2016 to 2021. In fact, for the most of the SNP 70 years in government, we've been a minority government. Yes, is it tough? Is it difficult? Does it mean you have to work issue by issue, case by case, priority by priority, trying to convince other parties to act in good faith? Yes, and that's what we'll do with the vote of no confidence. Confident we can win it, I can win it. Get on with delivering for the priorities of the people, like affordable housing.
You are going to fight on. You're not considering your position right now.
No.
You haven't given any thoughts to resigning before that vote comes in?
No. I've just told you I'll be intending to not just fight that vote, because the confidence I believe we can.
Okay, in that regard then, what is your pitch to those parties that have already said that they have no confidence in you anymore?
Well, I'd say particularly to the Greens, who I understand are feeling angry and upset. I do get that. I will be writing to again, not just Patrick and Lorna, but all the political party leaders to have a discussion with them. What I would say to the Greens in particular is to reconsider their position. We know why the Conservatives want to bring down an independence party, why they want to bring down an independence government. So I would say to the Greens, we have a lot of shared priorities, whether it's independence, whether it's the race to net zero, a number of equality issues, and many other issues too.
It seems like you fancy cooperation with the Greens more than the Alba party. Is that fair to say? Is that preferable? Would you rather work with the Greens than the Alba party?
Forgive me, I'm not going to preempt the discussions I'm going to hopefully be having with both Patrick
A lot of
Lorna,
people in your
but
party
also
would say that would indicate what type of
Ashton.
leader you are. Would you rather work with the Greens or the Alba party?
Look, as minority government dictates, you have to work with almost every single party.
Even you could work with
issue
the Alba
by
party.
issue.
Alex Salmond's Alba party. You could do
Look,
that.
forgive me, I know the headline you're desperate to try to get from me here, but what I'm saying is I will work with every single political party, issue by issue basis,
Including
and that
Alex.
includes in a vote of no confidence. So
Is it
I will be
sustainable?
writing to
Is it sustainable for you to carry on as leader if the only support you get in next week's votes from your party and Alex Salmond's Alba
It's
party?
quite a question to ask. Will you continue as leader if you win a vote of no confidence?
Well, it would be a draw in that case, only propped up by Alex Salmond's Alba party.
We would be winning the vote of no confidence. So
Is that
do I-
sustainable?
Do I intend to continue as First Minister if we win the vote of no confidence? The answer to that is yes.
Even if it's just from the vote from Alex Salmond's Alba
I
party?
don't know how many other ways I can say it. If we win the vote of no confidence, will we continue as a government? Will I continue as First Minister? Absolutely yes.
You made a point yesterday about how your decision made you a demonstration of strong leadership. Do you feel like a strong leader right now?
Look, again, we know the last 24 hours the opposition are desperate to try to oust the SNP as the largest political party in the Scottish Parliament. That's for them to do game playing. What I'm concentrating on is the priorities of the people. Hence why I'm out here announcing £80 million for affordable housing, which is really the priorities of the people, not political game playing in the Scottish Parliament.
First Minister, thank you very much for your time.